and welcome back to Funeral Industry Insights. This is a podcast where we talk about one of life's toughest subjects and the different aspects of the funeral industries. I'm your host, Michelle Dwyer, and today we're going to dive into something that's often misunderstood. Sometimes it's even whispered about, but very rarely is it explained properly, and that's the real cost of a funeral. So let's be honest. When someone passes away, emotions are high, right? Time's short, people are often hit with a decision that they've never had to make before. And one of the biggest questions that we get asked is, why do funerals cost what they do? Okay, so that's a fair question. And today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break that down simply for you. No fluff, no sales pitch, just the truth behind what you're actually paying for. Okay, so when you walk into a funeral service, everything feels pretty calm, respectful, and almost effortless. But behind the scenes, there's a lot going on. Okay, most people don't realize that funeral homes operate 24/7. Okay, so not just during your normal business hours. If a loved one passes away in the middle of the night, on a public holiday, or at home, someone has to be there. Okay, trained, compassionate professionals that are there to transfer your loved one into our care immediately. Okay, then there's legal paperwork as well. Okay, so death certificate, cremation permits, doctor's paperwork, crematoriums, cemeteries, all that. There's so much more. Okay, but they all need to be accurate and organized extremely quickly. Okay, so it's not just about filling in a form. It's coordinating with like government departments, doctors, registries, all while making sure that families aren't burdened by that process. Okay. And of course, there's the actual care of your loved one too. Okay. That's done with dignity and respect behind closed doors by professionals who never forget that that's someone's mother, father, partner, child. Okay. There's also a myth that the cost of a funeral is largely about the coffin. Okay, sure, that's a part of it, but it's far from the whole story. Okay, you're paying for a coordinated event. So you've got staff, vehicles, a venue, audio-visual equipment, music, flowers. So it's not unlike a wedding, but it's planned in just a few days and often under emotional stress. Okay, and here's the important part. So most of your big ticket items are choices, your choices. Okay, so families will often say to us, hey, we want something simple. But then they also request a slideshow, a specific venue, printer booklets, flowers, music licensing, and much more. Okay? They're not forced extras. They're personal choices. The choice that it's the way that you want to honor your loved one, which is fine. But obviously those choices have a price tag. Okay? So funeral directors don't just add them on to upsell you. They present you with the options and are often responding to your wishes to deliver what you ask for. Okay? But within the budget that you set. And that's what I want to just say is too, is it is important. Let your funeral director know that you have a budget and that you need to stick to it. And then that way then the choices they present to you will be within your budget. Okay. Another common misunderstanding is around cremation. Many people assume that cremation equals cheap and simple. Okay. And look, yes, it can be if it's a direct cremation without a service. If you choose to hold a service, then that's different. Okay. It can also involve like a viewing as well, whether you're choosing a burial or a cremation. The cost is shaped by what you do around the burial or cremation, not just the act itself. Okay. Now let's talk family owned versus corporate and whether there's a difference there on price. Okay. Now that's something different. It's important and not everyone realizes this. But if you're working with a family-owned funeral home, you're often working with a team that's part of your own community, okay? Not an employee of a large corporation, Okay, and that can make a difference to how pricing works. Okay, family-owned funeral homes often have lower overheads, more flexibility, and the freedom to tailor services to suit your budget and needs without upselling or rigid packages. So a lot of large corporations will try and do packages for you. Okay, family-owned funeral homes will often listen to what you're saying and tailor it to your specific needs rather than a package as such. Okay, and I know this is a really big thing for me. The person you meet to arrange the funeral service with a family-owned funeral home is often the person, or mostly the person, who's going to be guiding the funeral on the day. Okay, now they'll be there to guide you, hold your hand, provide comfort to you and your family, because you've now developed a personal connection with that person. Okay, now large providers can't match that. That personal approach can be more affordable, but it can also be more meaningful as well. Okay, because more often than not, the larger corporations, the person who arranges the funeral service is an arranger. That's their sole job. Okay, they won't attend on the funeral day. That's a different crew. So therefore, you and your family can quite often feel lost on that day. Okay, another confusing area that people don't understand is between prepaid funerals, funeral insurance, and at-need arrangements. Okay, so prepaid funerals, they're planned for in advance, so often many years before. Okay, what it means is that your family doesn't need to worry about cost or decisions, okay, because they've already been made. Funeral insurance, on the other hand, it works pretty similar to regular insurance. Okay, so you pay a premium regularly, and then when the time comes, a lump sum is then paid out. Okay, but be careful, because if you live a long time, some of them have age limits, but some don't, that you may actually end up paying more in premium costs than what you would have for the funeral itself. Okay, I have actually uploaded previously an episode on pre-arranging and prepaying funerals. Now that episode explains the differences between funeral insurance and funeral bonds. Okay, so have a listen to that episode where you do listen to your podcast. Then you've got at need. So at need is when you're making funeral arrangements at the time that someone passes away. Okay, so it's the most common, and naturally it's the one that's most stressful because it happens during grief and with very little preparation as well. So knowing the difference, choosing what's right for you can save your family emotional and financial stress down the track. Okay, but look, at the heart of it all is transparency. Okay, a good funeral home will always explain to you the costs clearly. Okay, offer options that match your budget. Okay, and they should never ever pressure you into anything you don't want, need, or that you can afford. Okay, so funerals don't have to be expensive. Yes, they can be, but it depends on what you choose. Okay, so remember that, and that's why understanding the process makes all the difference. So what do most people not understand about the funeral industry is it's not just that you're paying for a coffin and a service. Okay, you're paying for professional care, time, emotional labour, regular labour, regulations, safety, and being able to honour your loved one and saying goodbye your way. Okay, and when you do choose a family-owned funeral home, much like, you know, you're often choosing more personalised care, honest guidance, and better value without sacrificing quality. Okay, so thank you once again for listening into today's episode. If you have found it helpful, please share it with a friend, leave a comment, or reach out with any questions that you may have as well. We believe that everyone deserves to feel informed when it matters the most. Okay, so until next time, take care and look after each other.